Welcome back to the arena, folks. Today, we're diving into the absolute chaos of the 1994 U.S. Figure Skating Championships. Imagine the scene: high-stakes competition, the Olympics on the line, and suddenly, a brutal physical assault changes the sport forever. We're talking about the Ice Queen's secret attack, the Tonya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan scandal. This wasn't just a rivalry. It was a full-blown sports thriller that blurred the lines between elite athleticism and criminal conspiracy. For the fitness enthusiasts out there, this story is a masterclass in psychological pressure and the physical demands of staying at the top when the world is watching your every move. Let's break down how this January 6th incident in Detroit sent a tremor through the sporting world that still resonates today. To understand the scandal, you have to understand the athlete. Tonya Harding wasn't your typical ice princess. She was a raw, powerful force. In 1991, she became the first American woman to land a triple axel in competition. That's 3.5 rotations in the air, an incredible feat of explosive lower body strength and technical precision. For our fitness junkies, think about the plyometric power required for that. She didn't come from money, she came from grit. She was the blue-collar champion who relied on pure athleticism rather than the traditional aesthetic of the sport. She represented a shift toward high-performance technicality that many judges weren't ready for, creating a tension that fueled her desire to win at all costs.
On the other side of the rink, you had Nancy Kerrigan. If Tonya was the power, Nancy was the poise. She was the darling of the media, sponsored by massive brands like Revlon and Campbell's Soup. Her skating was characterized by long lines, elegance, and a more traditional balletic style. This contrast created a fire and ice narrative that the media couldn't get enough of. While Tonya was hitting the gym and grinding, Nancy was the face of the sport's grace. This perceived favoritism by the skating establishment weighed heavily on Harding. It wasn't just about who could jump higher, it was about who fit the image of a lady on the ice, setting the stage for a desperate move to level the playing field.
It happened during a practice session. As Nancy Kerrigan left the ice, a man emerged from behind a curtain and struck her right knee with a telescopic baton. The footage of her crying out, why, became one of the most famous clips in sports history. From a physical therapy perspective, the goal was clear: disable the landing leg. If Nancy couldn't land her jumps, she couldn't compete. The attacker, Shane Stant, had been hired as part of a plot orchestrated by Tonya's ex-husband, Jeff Gillooly, and her bodyguard, Sean Eckhart. The sports world was paralyzed. How could a competition turn into a crime scene? The investigation moved fast, but the drama was just beginning as the 1994 Lillehammer Olympics approached.
The FBI stepped in, and the plot unraveled like a bad movie. It turned out the conspirators were anything but professional. They left a trail of receipts and recordings. Jeff Gillooly eventually turned on Tonya, claiming she knew about the plan beforehand. For the athletes listening, this is where the mental game gets dark. Harding denied knowledge of the attack, focusing solely on her training for the Olympics despite the impending legal doom. She was under a microscope. Every practice was a media circus. The U.S. Olympic Committee struggled with whether to allow her to compete while under investigation, eventually deciding that until proven guilty, she had a right to skate. The tension was at an all-time high as the team headed to Norway. The 1994 Winter Olympics in Lillehammer remains one of the most watched sporting events ever. The women's short program drew a massive 48.5 Nielsen rating in the U.S. The atmosphere was electric and incredibly uncomfortable. Nancy Kerrigan had made a miraculous recovery, thanks to elite sports medicine and an insane rehab schedule. Tonya, meanwhile, was struggling. During her long program, she famously approached the judges crying, showing a broken lace on her skate. It was a moment of technical failure and emotional collapse. Nancy took the silver. Tonya finished 8th. The secret attack failed to get Tonya the gold, and the world watched her career effectively end on the ice in Norway. Let's look at the technical side for our fitness enthusiasts. This scandal highlighted a fundamental rift in figure skating: athleticism versus aesthetics. Tonya Harding's training focused on vertical leap, core stability, and the explosive force needed for the triple axel. Nancy Kerrigan's training emphasized flexibility, extension, and the stamina required for a seamless artistic presentation. When we talk about sports and fitness, we often forget that figure skating is one of the most demanding sports for the central nervous system. Landing a jump on a quarter-inch blade while recovering from a knee injury, as Nancy did, is a feat of extraordinary physical and mental toughness. The scandal forced the sport to eventually reevaluate its scoring system to be more objective and technical. In the end, the fallout was permanent. Tonya Harding was banned for life from the U.S. Figure Skating Association after pleading guilty to hindering the prosecution. She lost her titles and her livelihood. Nancy Kerrigan retired to a lucrative career in professional shows and endorsements. The scandal remains a cautionary tale about the win-at-all-costs mentality. For athletes today, it serves as a reminder that the integrity of the sport is as important as the physical performance. It changed how we view rivals and how the media covers sports drama. Tonya remains a polarizing figure, a powerhouse athlete whose legacy is forever tied to a baton strike in a Detroit hallway. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the ice's darkest secret. Stay fit, stay focused.